What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Munchie video. This is gonna be my second video for the holiday Christmas type videos that I'm trying out, and gonna see how it goes. So this is a dessert. It's a basically a chocolate covered peanut butter and cookie type of holiday log. So I'm gonna give this a shot. Just a fair warning. This didn't come out exactly the way it was supposed to, so I'm not a professional chef or cook or nothing like that. So just be aware that this is not actually how-to video. It's basically an attempt. So just keep that in mind when I try this out. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so to start things off, I went ahead and grabbed 300 grams of maybe like a shortbread type cookie. The recipe calls for biscuits, the cookies type of biscuits, but they were chocolate covered. So I just got these kinds. So I went ahead and crushed the cookies up. If you got a puree type machine, I would use that. But I just went ahead and crushed it by hand. And here I have 300 grams of peanut butter. I ended up adding to it. And so after you got all that in a bowl, I went ahead and grabbed a bigger one because that one was a little bit too small. I went ahead and put some gloves on and ended up mixing up everything until it was firm enough to try to make into little logs here. But I had some issues with it, and I'm gonna get further elaborate with it with the explanation as the video goes on. So, but I ended up, like I said, making the logs. I had to throw them in the freezer for the little concoction to harden up to actually shape it. So keep that in mind if you ever try this. But anyways, after I made the little logs, I went ahead and grabbed some dark chocolate. This is Hershey's dark chocolate. You don't need to use Hershey's if you're gonna try this, but I just went ahead and zapped it in the microwave and melted it and till it was nice and runny and easy to dunk these things into here. And just kind of dumped them in a bowl and covered all the way around with chocolate, and then took them out and put them on a pan with parchment paper. And as you can see, I'm just kind of throwing a couple of them in there for example. And yeah, you get to see like some chocolate covered peanut butter cookie type deals. And then I went ahead and put it in the refrigerator for a little bit to let it chill and harden up faster. So this is how they ended up coming out and looking. So that's how it came out. This is how I made them, and hopefully y'all enjoyed the way it looks. And I'm gonna get further in depth of what happened. So I'll see y'all in the next video. All right, so here we go. This is the final product of what I was trying to make, and I don't think I really have I don't really think I have a name for it yet. I don't think I made something. I haven't done the commentary for the beginning part of this yet, the making of this thing process. So I think I'm gonna call it maybe I think the recipe called it just holiday treats, but I think I'm gonna call it maybe a chocolate covered cookie and peanut butter holiday log or something like that. But anyways, as you can tell, as you can see, it doesn't really look like a log or a piece of a log. It looks like a piece of something else. But I mean, I think it came out pretty good. So um, what I'm basically gonna do is I'm gonna try this out, let everybody know how it is, how it tastes, how it came out as far as flavor goes, and I'm gonna get into the process of letting y'all kind of know, kind of what happened throughout, why it came out the way it looks. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say I think I'm gonna go ahead and be harsh on this, and I'm gonna say I feel like it was kind of a fail, but just because of the presentation. But it ended up holding up. I think it's gonna end up tasting good, but I'm gonna give it a try. But just to get off the record right now, just be off the bat, right off the bat, I'm gonna say it's a fail. So let me give it a try, and I'll explain why. think I finished that after I'm done with the video. So I think it tastes good. It really does. So basically, the texture in the middle of it is basically, I didn't really know how it's gonna come out, but from right there, and let me just tell y'all, that was out of the refrigerator, and it does taste good whenever it's hardened up and cold in the refrigerator. But it's soft, and I guess because of the bigger chunks of cookie I left in there, it's a little crunchy, a little crispy, and it's real thick and smooth, yet crunchy and crispy. And then the chocolate that covers it is a darker chocolate, so it's not, the whole thing isn't crazy sweet. So to me, it's almost like, almost delicacy to a certain degree, like a expensive type of dessert, a special holiday one. So because of how unsweet it is, I mean, it's sweet, but it's not, sugary sweet. If it was milk chocolate, it'd be a little bit more sweeter, but that's a darker chocolate, so it's more rich in the chocolate sense and less sweet and sugary. So the flavor's there, but what happened, the way it came out was, it was supposed to look like logs from the recipe I seen. It's supposed to be round and pretty and all that kind of stuff, like holiday logs. But at the end of the day, while I was trying to make this, as you can see, it was supposed to be 300 grams of cookies, 300 grams of peanut butter. It's supposed to chop it all up till it was fine and all that stuff, and then mix it all up. It's supposed to be spongy, and you should be able to mold it and work with it. But what ended up happening was, when I tried to mix the peanut butter and the cookie together, it ended up becoming real kind of soft and runny. It was still thick, but just runny and unable to really work with it and solidified enough for it to work with. So I try to add more cookie to it, add more cookie, add more cookie. The more cookie I try to add, the more impatient I became. So the thicker the chunks became, because I didn't really grind it up enough. But anyway, whenever I try to add more cookie to it, so when I try to mold it together and shape it, it ended up kind of falling apart because of the cookie. But then if I try to mix it all up even more, the peanut butter became a little bit more runny and unable to mold. So what I basically ended up doing was throwing it in the refrigerator and or in the freezer, letting it solidify. Pull it out. It ended up kind of, to a certain degree, it only took a couple minutes for it to melt and to get soft and to start moving around, like as far as not being able to shape it. So I had to go in and out of the freezer. I had to go put the mix in for a handful of minutes, I'd say 10-15 minutes, pull it out so that it was solidified, make a couple of them, throw it back in the fridge and the freezer, because I threw the ones that I made in the fridge, and then the batter, the mix in the freezer, and then pull it out, make a couple other ones, a few or whatever, until they were all done. So then while I was heating up the chocolate, I left that in the freezer. I let the ones I made cool and freeze up a little bit, and pulled out the dark chocolate, put it on the table, and then I let the chocolate cool a little bit, and then I ended up throwing them in there as fast as I could, rolling them around, throwing them on a sheet pan, and then letting it, I tried to do it as fast as I could, because towards the end of going through them, they started softening up and the chocolate started hardening up. So by the time I got to the last 3 or 4 of them, they started bending and almost warping, so I had to really rush and try not to break them apart and mess it up. So that's why they came out the way they did. Like I said, they were supposed to be round and pretty looking and all that stuff for the holidays, but it ended up not working out. But that's why I say I gave it a fail. But as far as flavor, and it ended up working, because it ended up solidifying and becoming almost like cookie bars instead of cookie logs. But anyway, like I said, I gave it a fail, but it still worked out. So it tastes great, and it's good with milk, and like I said, it's not too sweet, but it's still very rich. So it's like a decadent, I guess that's the correct word to say, dessert for the holidays. So that ended up coming out good. But anyway, so aside from the dessert, I also wanted to do maybe a movie recommendation for the month of December, for Christmas. Now, I was gonna talk about something else, but I wanted to bring this up because I want to do this in dedication for somebody else who has passed, and this time it's in the movie industry, the film industry, and it's Kirstie Alley. And if you don't know who she is, she was really popular in maybe the late '80s, early '90s, mid '90s, throughout the '90s, and she's done a lot of work as an actress. You know, some of the things that people really remember her from is for being a main character in Cheers, the show that came out in the late '80s, early '90s, or I'm sorry, no, early '80s to early '90s. I think it was like 11 years or something like that. It was out. But anyway, she was a big part of that. She was an actress for that. And she actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she won some awards for that. And she also did some other movies. She did some All the Look Who's Talkings. She also did uh, For Richer and Poorer with Tim Allen, I think she did a movie with the Olsen twins, um, and stuff like that. And I think later on in the years, I think 2010, she did something with another show. She did some shows later on as well, but those are the ones that I know her from. And so she is, her movies and shows are part of my childhood. So it's sad to see her pass. She was 71 years old. I think she passed away from a certain cancer. So rest in peace to Kirstie Alley. And my condolences go out to her family, friends, and fans. But with that being said, like I said, my recommendation for a movie for December that's going out as a tribute to Kirstie Alley is Look Who's Talking Now. Now, if you don't know what Look Who's Talking the movies are, they came out in the late 80s, early 90s. I believe this particular one, which is the third one of the Look Who's Talking, uh, came out in 93, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit after, but I think it was around 93. But just to give everybody kind of review of all the Look Who's Talking to get to the third one. The first one was basically about John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. I think I'm saying that right. Kirstie, not Kirstie, it's Kirstie. I think Alley, and she was a single mom in the movie. She's a single mom. She's about to have a baby. She got impregnated because she was in a relationship with a man who was actually played by George Segal, I believe his name was, but he was a good actor as well. He brought a lot of light to a lot of characters. Rest in peace to George Segal. But anyways, he's the guy that she had a relationship with, and in the movie, he's an older guy. He's got money, and he's kind of in this midlife crisis phase, and he's talking about he's gonna leave his wife and his kids from a relationship that he's in right as of right, and as at that point to leave them to get with her, and she believes him. So she ends up getting pregnant and stuff like that, and is about to have a baby, and she's gonna end up being on her own if this doesn't work out. So she's kind of like on the fence with him, about to let him go. So she's trying to move on with her life while she's pregnant, while she's single, while she's like fairly young. I think she's probably in the movie she plays somebody that's in her late 20s or something like that. So one day she's out there and she starts going into labor, and she's looking for a cab. She's waiting for a cab, and then Josh Travolta pulls up in the cab, and there his character is. He's kind of this happy-go-lucky New Yorker guy. I think they're in New York. They're in a fast-paced city, and she's like, give me to the hospital. So he gets her to the hospital, and his character is basically this kind of guy who's a cab driver who don't have much money, who just kind of goes day by day. He's kind of a hustler. He does what he needs to do to get, to eat and to get entertainment and stuff. He sneaks into movies, gets free popcorn, finds ways to get free food and all that kind of stuff. He's kind of like a streetwise type of dude. And anyways, he gets her to the hospital, and he kind of hangs out with her through the birth. And later on in the movie, you'll see that there's kind of this deal that him and Kirstie Alley make, where he has to become a babysitter for her in payment for something, and he gets connected. He gets close to the baby because the dad don't have nothing to do with him. He acts like he does, but he really don't. So he becomes close to the baby, and then they end up, becoming close, and then her and John Travolta, the mom and John Travolta, Kirstie Alley and John Travolta, their relationship ends up kind of growing a little bit and stuff like that. And towards the end, they kind of get together and stuff like that. But within the movie, the premise of the movie is through the baby's eyes. So the kid that's actually born is actually voiced by Bruce Willis, and while being voiced by Bruce Willis, it just kind of goes through the eye. That's through the point of view of the baby, and he kind of talks as a narrator for the baby, what the baby's thinking, you know, how he's doing things. He talks to other babies and stuff like that. So, you know, it's funny. It's a funny movie and stuff like that, and I think it's a good family movie. There's adult content to it, but I think it's still fit for kids. But anyways, there's other actors and stuff that do the other kids, that talk for the other kids, like Damon Wayans and stuff like that. So it's a good movie. But at the end, like I said, everybody gets together and stuff. Part 2 is basically the same premise, except John Travolta and Kirstie Alley are together in this one. They actually have a baby together, because remember in the first one, the little boy is actually the other guy's baby, but John Travolta and them have built a relationship, and now Kirstie Alley and him are together. They have a little girl. The boy's about 3 or 4 now. Now the little girl's newborn, and she's actually voiced by Roseanne. And that movie is basically about the brother and the sister trying to get along and adapting to each other. And then you got John Travolta and Kirstie Alley trying to, you know, develop their relationship through their little turmoil that they have. So that's a great movie. So getting to part 3, which is the one that I recommend for this month for the Christmas movie, is Look Who's Talking Now. Now in this one, the kids are older. They're about 6. The little girl's about 6, and the boy's about 8 or 9. And you know, through this movie, it's actually about you know, they have, you know, of course they've grown up. It's still Kirstie Alley, still John Travolta as the parents, and it's Christmas time, and Kirstie Alley and John Travolta both have developed careers now. You know, they have a full functioning family and stuff like that. Everything's going pretty good. They're, you know, it's a full functioning household. So there's a lot of, you know, traffic and all that kind of good stuff. There's a family, developed family ends up happening and stuff like that. A lot of stress, but a lot of, you know, family moments and stuff. But in this one, is actually, since there's no babies to talk, it's actually about animals, about dogs, because the kids want a pet. So John Travolta and the boy go get a dog. They bring him home. They save him from the pound. Kirstie Alley isn't happy about it. The dog is kind of like this little streetwise, wisecracking, you know, dog that's voiced by Danny DeVito. And you know, he's kind of a dirty little mutt that's from the street. You kind of see him from birth on up to, you know, a dog. And he kind of talks and says his little things and stuff like that. And then, so they have to develop and figure out how to work the dog into their life. Kirstie Alley's not happy about that. And then you get John Travolta's boss, who she brings her dog in because she overheard him talking about wanting a dog, and now they have 2 dogs. And this one is a poodle, who's actually voiced by Diane Keaton. And she's a snooty little poodle, or a big poodle actually, but she's snooty. She turns her nose up to everything, and her and the other dog, Rocks, the mutt, don't get along. And so, you know, you got a family trying to, you know, a fully functioning family that's got a lot going on. And you got 2 dogs that are coming in the house kind of like fighting, and they're trying to get used to dogs and stuff. And there's turmoil with the relationship between John Travolta and Kirstie Alley and their characters and stuff. But it's all fun. It's in the holidays. John Travolta ends up having to do some work, and his thing is trying to get back home for Christmas and stuff. So it's a great holiday movie. So that's my recommendation. That's my tribute to Kirstie Alley. So that's pretty much it. So like I said, you know, rest in peace to Kirstie Alley. My condolences again go out to the family, friends, and fans of hers. And that's my recommendation for the movie. The dessert, like I said, came out pretty well. Didn't come out the way I fully wanted it to. I don't feel it came out, you know, exactly how it's supposed to come out, but it worked. Still came out delicious, and it's dense, it's filling, so, you know, it worked. But other than that, that's pretty much it. You know, I'm trying to do 2 more videos. If anybody happens to run across this video, I'll try to do 2 more. for the month of December for the Christmas season. I'm trying to do a one drink video and then one guitar cover video. So be on the lookout for those. I'm gonna try to. Can't promise anything, but I'm gonna try. But other than that, that's about it for this one. So I appreciate anybody who happened to run across this video. If everybody, like I say, stay safe. Um, Everybody look out for yourselves, look out for each other, and I'll see everybody in the next video.